Hello baby gangsters, this is Calvin, also known as Romer, and this is my first ever playthrough of Genshin Impact, and we're still here, down below in... Are these guys still here, by the way? They're still here, so their quest hasn't advanced forward yet, I'm guessing. We're still here in the Spina de Razula. Paimon can pronounce it amazingly, by the way. And we're learning quite a bit about it as well. Just before we start, this is the team I'm using today, by the way, and I think, wait, no, I know where I'm going here. This team we're using today, and it's Pleasant Shock. I talked about it last time a little bit, but I realized I don't always like go into like my team composition all the time. I remember someone mentioning it and kind of being like, oh, like, you know, you used to do this quite a bit. And yeah, for sure. I used to go into like team composition and talk about why I'm doing teams and why I want a team, and I think that's also very fun to do. To start off, this team wasn't doing fantastic last time, and it wasn't because they're bad. I think this team actually can work. It's because a lot of their talents weren't even leveled up. Xiangling and Callas, for example, had level 1 talents. All their weapons aren't fully leveled either, and I'll actually show you here. Like, that's a level 50 weapon. That's only level 16, you know, level 20. You know what I mean? Like, there's like a lot more we can do with these characters, and I think I'm going to focus on these 4 specifically right now, or maybe like in the next while, because like Xiangling's like close to being ready. Her artifacts are there that I got for her, you know, we might be using this weapon, I suppose. We could get a better weapon as time goes on. She obviously doesn't have any constellations. Like, we have to level up Kaching's talents as well. We have to level up her weapon. Obviously, she's not going to be perfect. That's like a very, you know, that's a given. Barbara, you know what? I think her talents are leveled. I think Barbara's perfect. You know what I mean? I get into like around the level 6 with my world rank and stuff, I guess. Of course, things might change as things go on. I should obviously level her artifacts as well. But she, so far, I think Barbara's perfect. I think we can all agree that Barbara doesn't need to change ever. But yeah, I'm still going to continue to use this team. I'm still going to continue to use this team for a while and try to get better with them. Another thing was, and I talked about the last one as well, is this thing here.
Speed of light.
I stopped here when you should do this as well. Like, that was just a very silly thing to me. It's a relearning a character. Yeah. I'm glad that I was able to realize that as well. So maybe it might go better this time.
So, this is your base? It's not quite what Paimon imagined.
I thought of it as a different thing as well, Paimon. I did.
Your accommodations have been arranged. Under the present circumstances, I can confidently say it's the best we have.
No, thank you. Yeah, like I thought it was gonna be like this, like spy building, but like it's actually like a really cool way of doing this. And again, like I said, it's a contrast completely just from her outfit, right?
Well, our funds have been a little tight lately.
There we go. Okay, so that kind of confirms a lot of things. So maybe like when because I was kind of speculating last time about the funds, and it seems that obviously while they do sponsorships, they also look for stuff in return. They look for, like, it's kind of like a you scratch my back, I scratch yours kind of business as well, which I actually kind of appreciate too.
After all, we don't allow illegal or unethical profiteering. In fact, our funds often come from citizenry who support us.
Wow, okay.
Seems like it's tough times for everyone. But if you have the support of the people, that does sound like it's worth it.
Yeah. No, honestly, I'm glad that they subtly showed this stuff through little sprinkles, right? They do that very well in Genshin.
To be honest, our financial situation was a lot better back when my father was in charge a few years ago. I'm afraid I'm not quite
Wow, okay, so it's like living up to her father as well, that kind of concept.
Your father, he was the previous boss of Spina di Rosula, right? How did he...
See, I mean, Paimon pronounces this really well.
Demoiselle, if you'll allow me to explain.
Oh, so he wants to... Okay, so it's maybe how he passed away?
No. I'll explain it myself. I suppose I couldn't run from this topic forever. And as partners, this is something I hope they can understand.
Interesting. So she's felt as though like she's been, you know, that the people with her, Melus, for example, has been explaining this stuff because she's too afraid to explain it herself, or maybe too upset, you know, too afraid to explain it herself.
My father's name is Callas. Yes. The same one they call Callas the Unfaithful in the streets.
Okay.
3 years ago, he was accused of murdering his own friend. But he chose a duel to defend his honor instead of standing trial. He died in the duelist's ring.
Wow. So he was like, again, it's an example of that concept of justice that they have.
Oh no. But I do not believe my father was a murderer. I'm sure he was set up.
Right. having faith in him.
At the time, I believed that if he only stood trial and was duly investigated, something amiss would crop up and prove his innocence. But strangely, he not only requested the duel himself, but rumor has it that even after being seriously injured, to the point where he could be deemed as having lost the duel, he refused to surrender, determined to die in the arena.
So he was like, okay, this is it for me. This is it.
3 years later, I still don't understand why he did that.
This music is incredible as well. It almost like suits Navia, right? Or like suits the energy, I guess, around Navia right now.
How could he protect his honor if he's dead? If anything, he gave up his chance to defend himself.
It does seem quite odd. Do you have any clues as to why?
The closest piece of info I have is that my father had been investigating the serial disappearances case at the time of his death.
Oh man, this is so connected, isn't it? This is going to be so connected.
Ah, so that's why you're so determined to get to the bottom of that case.
That's right. I've also tried to investigate the murder my father was implicated in, but I haven't found a single new clue in my countless reviews of the investigation records. However, I believe that if the murder case is related to those behind the disappearances, they must know something.
Yeah, yep.
I must know what really happened. Was my father coerced? Framed? Even if he really did kill his friend, I must get to the truth.
You can hear it. You can hear in her voice as well how this is something that's so... And of course it's a board towards her father as well. But like she's... Imagine having to live with like the idea of like not knowing exactly why your father died. Not knowing exactly who, like, you know, who maybe coerced, as you said, framed. And now she's seeing as well, you know, when we talk about the Vacher thing, like of course she's going to be interested in that so much as well as someone else who was like coerced into staying quiet.
If only he'd been more open with me when he was still alive. He even hid the fact that my mother died due to complications when giving birth to me.
Interesting, so he hid a lot from her.
And now, here I am investigating his death. You really are a handful, aren't you, Papa?
Papa? Again, interesting seeing the different dialects, I suppose, between worlds. Seeking the truth for the sake of your family. You know, we're quite alike in this regard. I mean, yeah, we're literally trying to find the secrets of the abyss because it leads to our sister.
Demoiselle, please, if there is anything I can do, anything at all.
They appreciate her so much. They worship the ground that she walks on, you can tell. It's very, very sweet.
I also will never believe that Master Callas murdered anyone. There are none whom I respect more than the two of you, Demoiselle. Master Callas did so much good in life, yet all it took was one murder case for him to be dubbed Callas the Unfaithful. Even our supporters decreased greatly due to that incident, hence our strained finances at present.
Oh wow, so it was that whole thing that happened with Callas that actually, okay, yeah, that's why, again, the people probably are like, okay, I can't support somebody who died a supposed murderer.
Wait, if Callas was such a good man, wouldn't people at least be a little suspicious when he was accused?
No. Perhaps people just revel in that kind of drama.
There you go.
It's not something exclusive to people from Fontaine, really. Everyone's like that. People love watching the evil turn over a new leaf, but they also enjoy watching good people fall into an abyss from one slip-up just as much.
Yeah. It's the whole idea of it, right? Isn't it? Like it's the it's even if this person is a super, super good person, it's the idea that like, oh, like it's like, oh my god, like did you hear like of Callas? Did you hear what Callas is doing? Oh, look at Callas, like, oh my god, he's fallen so far. You know, it feels like that's the way they're looking at it. And in a way we saw that with Linny, right? It's like people were enjoying the show of Linny maybe being put away for murder as well. Not because they hated Linny, but because the actual showcase of like the drama, the whole like, oh my god, how scandalous is it? Like Linny of all people, you know what I mean? Like they love this idea here in Fontaine, I guess. Because they love the idea of a big story.
But how could... Never mind. If Callas was really falsely accused, we have to find the truth. He didn't deserve to have that happen
I agree, Paimon.
There is one other thing. Master Callas's opponent in the duel
Oh my god.
was Ms. Corand.
Clarande. I was saying Clarinde. Clarande. Like, how on earth do you, like, Navia is, like, an amazing person. Because, like, even, like, because maybe it's just because I feel like humans, and we all are a bit irrational sometimes. I understand that, like, it was Clarande's job. Like, I wouldn't be able to look her in the eyes. Now it makes sense why she was so cold to her as well, I suppose.
Oh, her? Well, then, isn't that as good as saying that she was the one who killed him?
No wonder the movie was a little bit strange between the two of you. And to explain what I'm saying, by the way, people might be like, well, Calvin, that's irrational. She had to just do her job. 100%. But I think that, like, you have to look at it from a very human perspective. You know what I mean? From the perspective of, like, not just like, oh, it's just her job, right? Like, I think that if that happened to you, your mind would instantly go to, like, not blaming them, but, like, it'd be hard to even look at them. It's like, that's the person that killed my, dad. Like, you understand? Like, that's more than reasonable. Again, not that it's right. Not that it's morally right. But I think that would make so much sense in your head if you're like, that's the person that killed my, that's the person. It was their job. That's the person,
Yeah. That's not the sort of thing that you can just let go
Exactly.
and move on from.
Exactly. It's so difficult. That's your family.
Miss Clarande has always placed great emphasis on the honorable nature of the duel. If her opponent doesn't yield, she will not stop either.
Oh no, I'm not. Yeah, because of course I'm not blaming Clarande for this, because the idea of, like, again, she was doing what was in the metrics of the duel, right? Like, and it's one of those things that, like, it's like, it seems that from this perspective, she also gave him several chances to just give up as well.
She knew Master Callas beforehand and greatly respected him, but seeing how he was resolute in the arena, there was only ever one choice she could have made.
So it was bound to happen at this stage anyway.
It's not that I don't understand her at all, but I just can't deal with this
Oh
yet.
my god, you sweet, sweet soul. That is so understandable. It takes time. It takes time, and sometimes you might not ever.
Don't worry, Navia. Paimon knows how you feel. You don't have to force yourself to do that.
Good on you, Paimon. Yeah, exactly.
Afterward, Miss Clarande told us that at the start of the duel, Master Callas requested that she ensure Demoiselle Navia's safety.
Yeah, that indicates that he probably knew he was dead in that duel. Yeah.
Yes, that is our understanding as well.
Oh, Papa. What madness drove you to ask the person who killed you to take care of me?
And Clarande did just save you as well.
All right. Anyway, that's the information I wanted to share with you. Even if it did sound like I was just complaining towards the end.
No, I understand how important this is to you. Someone, again, who's gone through a lot of stuff, like, they will tend to, like, this perfect design, by the way, will tend to, like, do this type of stuff, I feel like, too, where they kind of go, like, oh, I feel like I'm complaining all the time. And that usually comes from, like, being in a place that, like, even if you have this mad amount of support, it can sometimes feel like, oh, I'm annoying people, I'm upsetting people, I don't want people to talk to people about this, because sometimes it sounds like complaining. Put in qualifier at the end where it's like, oh, this is complaining, I know, but it's like, no, express how you feel, please. I understand how important this is to you.
Thanks. You two should go and rest. This was quite a day after all.
No, you're amazing. You're absolutely amazing, Navia.
Yeah. Paimon's feet.
Poor Paimon.
Please, relax and get some sleep. We will ensure you rest sound.
This place is amazing. This place is absolutely amazing. Like, I love the concept of this place. It's really incredible. Yeah, no, I think Navia, we came here, like, to meet Linny. We came here to meet Lynette, Fremine, to level up a bunch of these characters. To level up Clarande, to all these, to level up our Fontaine characters, to meet our Fontaine characters, but, like, obviously to meet, like, the characters that we've known we wanted to meet for a while, like Linny and Lynette. And we found Navia, who has been one of the best, like, surprises the game has ever given me. And not surprised in terms of, like, oh my god, what happened? But a surprise in terms of, like, oh, where were you hiding this girl? She's fantastic. And I have really enjoyed the conversations we've had with her and the story we've had with her so far.
Whether it be responsibility for Spina di Rosula or Master Callas's death, it all landed on Demoiselle's shoulders so suddenly.
It's rough. So rough.
This won't do. I must become stronger.
So let's rest. A peaceful night passes under the Spina di Rosula's protection. Oh, Paimon.
Paimon slept so well. This place feels almost too safe.
Maybe we should join it, honestly.
Huh? Navia? Where did the other two
Navi just
go?
waiting for us at the table?
I sent them back to Poisson. It's Spina de Rosula's place of origin, and where we have our headquarters.
Right, okay.
There's not much for them to do here at the moment.
We heard that when we were in Poisson, we heard that Spina de Rosula was like a they kind of rejected the like I forget what the name of it was, like maybe the Fontaine Institute, the Research Institute, maybe? Was that it? Where they kind of like, or maybe it was a different institute where they kind of like rejected the ideals. It's been a week or so. So forgive me if I forget exactly what they said, but I remember the older lady saying that anyone who goes there gets to like work based on like what they can actually do. And I feel like that kind of like does have that kind of concept here where like people are like coming here as doctors or handymen, and they're not being kind of like judged for that. They're being judged for like the merits of their work in some cases. Maybe not even that, like, because I feel like some people come here and they're that we talk to have just been like, given a second chance sometimes.
I get the feeling that you're just trying to get them off your back.
Are they always around her? I'd say they are.
Never mind that. When did you get back? Were you waiting here the whole time?
No, I just returned after going out for a while. I did some investigating yesterday regarding the name Vacher.
Okay.
Wait, so you didn't sleep at all?
How could I after having such critical new evidence?
She's excited.
appear?
This is her whole life. This is her whole life she's been building to.
Guess Paimon wasn't speaking for everyone just now,
Of course. Of course.
Unfortunately, this name seems to have been wiped from existence. It doesn't seem to have a match anywhere.
That's crazy. How did the...
I suspect that those behind this have already taken steps to hinder an investigation from this angle.
Yep.
But that does prove that this Vacher person is a key witness in the incident.
The fact that we can't find anyone by that name, yes.
Does that mean we're too late, though?
No. There is one ray of hope. One place in Fontaine that they would find almost impossible to threaten, no matter how much they wanted to.
Where's this?
And that is the archives kept by Chief Justice Neuvillette.
Oh.
A place where detailed files on all the cases in recent years are kept.
Yeah, okay, so the idea that, like, no one would ever, like, go against Neuvillette.
If the Ocean you met is one of the young women who went missing recently, we should be able to find some related information there.
So Neuvillette maintains an archive of case files? Whew. Guess that's the hard-working Chief Justice for you.
He seems very dedicated. He seems extremely dedicated.
In that case, let's go talk to him, shall we?
No?
Aren't you coming along, Navia? Did you get tired?
No, it's nothing. Let's go see the Honorable
Okay,
Chief
if you're up for it,
Justice.
if you're up for it, right? Like, it seems that something's upsetting you. We don't want you being upset coming into this conversation, right? I feel like that's the opposite of what we actually want. Because you've been so good to us as well. That's the opposite of what we want. Man, this is such a cool location. Like, I absolutely adore it. I love the idea of, like, a hidden place here under Fontaine that I didn't expect at all. That looks like, again, it's like a wharf. Like, it's like a fisherman's wharf built down here. Like, where it's like a second chance place. I love it. I really love it. Oh, I think we have, like, at least... Wait, do we have our commissions done already? I think we do. Nice. I don't know if that's enough for a wish or whatever, but we'll see. Oh! We have enough for 2 wishes. Why not do it now? That's a negative. That's a negative. That's a negative. And it's a negative. It's fine. We gotta keep the spirits high, guys. We gotta keep the spirits high, you hear me? Man, even like the different locations, it looks like some people are staying in different locations. There's like a cooking place here. But look, it really feels like everyone's helping each other out. There's kids down here as well. There's cats. I mean, this is a perfect place. One of my favorite locations in the game so far. In the entire game. Fontaine was made for me. I'm taking, by the way, this exit here, not because I'm trying to, like, waste time or anything like that. Like, because, like, there's no point to, like, just wasting time. I just wanted to get up to this point here because I wanted to see the perspective of coming back out. You know? So let's go up then, back up to the Chief Justice Neuvillette. Oh, this way.
The Palais is right up ahead. Come on.
Freeze. I am so excited. to see Neuvillette. Holy hell. Oh my god. Even the music here as well. Without the bodyguards here too, it's very interesting to see Navia, right? You just point? Just, there!
Halt! Please state your business here. The Chief Justice is presently occupied with official matters.
Oh, Genshin. Genshin. That voice acting. That voice acting's so good.
Huh. This place does look pretty heavily guarded. Guess that proves that Neuvillette's files are really secure.
Well, we're happy for that, right? Because that's why they're out of reach of the people who are throwing water on people.
Hey, don't you recognize us?
Huh? Who are you? Just to be clear, I don't care who you are or who you might be related to. Our rules make no exceptions.
Navia tried to do what I do in Inazuma all the time, which is like, don't you know I know the Rain Shogun? Or Liwei, don't you know I know Lingwan?
See? They've got great discipline, too.
Fantastic. No, it is good, Navia. It is good. Look at this perfect character design. Like, Jesus Christ. What are we doing here, you know? We found the secret to life, and it's right here. Like, it's just a really great design. It's so good. There's like not a hair out of place. It's like when we saw Gamen all over again, you know?
Yep. Paimon can tell.
If you're here just to crack jokes, I can point you
I love the
towards
voice acting
exit.
here. I love it.
Unlike some, we're busy. So please leave if you don't have a reason to be here.
No. What I meant to say is, shouldn't you remember us from a few days ago? We were at the trial of the great magician Linny.
Oh, yes, I remember. I read about it in the Steambird. You must be Linny's attorneys. It's all coming back to me now.
Like, it's like, I don't know why I love the voice acting so much, just because it's such an interesting voice they chose.
We're here today to report and archive some information on a follow-up case.
Huh. Is that even a thing?
Yes, it is now.
Of course. Don't worry. We're here on official business. You can trust us.
All right then, I'll let you through. The Chief Justice is just inside.
Wait, was that easy?
Thanks so much.
That's a bit of a, well, I guess because we were in the trial. And they did read about us, so they knew we were in the trial. Let's take a look around this place. Oh my god, look at this. Head over the counter. Hello there. I can't even do the voice. It's so good. If you'd like, please turn back. Some of the rooms here are restricted access only. What rooms are in there? What rooms are there in here? What rooms are there in here? If I were to tell you, you get curious, so it might be best you simply don't. Monsieur Neuvillette's office is over by the side. This much everyone knows. And well, Lady Frida lives on the top floor. She's a real celebrity, so she really doesn't have any time slots free. But not to worry, the basic Garden Age and the Marachus Phantom are also upstairs, so anyone with ill intent won't be getting very far regardless. Tell me about Lady Farina. There's a special entrance that leads to the street, which is inaccessible from here. If you really wanted to get there, you can try jumping off the roof. Someone did try this once, fortunately his life didn't wind up in any danger. He is presently at work at the Fortress of Meripide. They saved him and sent him to prison, is what they're saying. Can we talk about, Neuvillette? Monsieur Neuvillette, time slots, notice his schedule is also very full. He can't always be found in his office, in any case. If you have any matter to be put before him, please submit an application to the corresponding questionnaire according to the matter at hand. Very well, I'll do that just when we're ready to do that. History of the decline of the fall of Ramiria. Music here is so kind of like spooky in a way. You know what I mean? It feels like entering like a dining hall or something like that at a fancy mansion. And people are looking at you. Knock on the door.
Please come in.
Huh? Now, we look amazing, right? All my characters look absolutely amazing, right? Now, I think if we wanted to make an impression of it, look at he's just sitting there. You know, he's just sitting there. No, honestly, all of them would do fantastic, right? But Kuching is an official lady. Let's go. He's just sitting there staring at us for the whole. It's such a gigantic room.
to get in because we didn't know any other
Oh my god,
way.
admitting the lie right away is actually probably not a bad tactic. So we know, like, hey, look, we lied.
It's all right. Please let me know how I may be of assistance.
Oh my
to
god,
you.
he's a sweetheart. He's a sweetheart.
So you're not mad at us?
We're looking for a man called Vache. He may have been an eyewitness in the serial disappearances case. If we can find him, we may be able to unearth some key information on the case.
Ah, I see. In that case, please wait here a moment while I browse through the files.
So helpful. Tired eyes as well, which we love, don't we? No, it's an extremely beautiful character. He's super, 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 super handsome. And just like has like a very interesting style as well that does seem very like I think we talked about like the idea of like a 10 out of 10 presence, you know? I talk about it all the time because when people are like, you know, what is a perfect design to you? And I feel like it's hard for me to explain. I think like sometimes, you know, we do get like excited and go, this is perfect. But like I feel like when we catch up, I kind of want to do a video on like all my favorite designs from the game, like my like say like my top 20 or something like that, so we can talk about them more. Great side profile, right? Who agrees? You do.
Who knew that Neuvillette would be so easy to talk
Yeah,
to?
great observation actually, Palmon. Yeah. It's someone who has a presence but is very clear, right? Is still easy to talk to. That's a talent. To be able to be imposing and scary enough that no one wants to like go against your or wants to steal from you. There's a clock over there. But at the same time also be approachable enough.
Unfortunately, I'm quite certain that no one by the name of Vache has been involved in any case, criminal or civil, in the past several years.
So it was a scrub from here as well, but that's kind of impossible, no?
There are no records of him either in the files or in my memory.
Memory as well, he says. So I guess that's that, and so we're back to square one.
Traveler, what if it was really just a dream?
I mean, it could be, but I'm thinking now it's like, I don't ever want to go down that route in Genshin, you know?
Is that so? All right then. Thank you so much, Monsieur Neuvillette. We'll take our leave.
Like, how many dreams have you had that became reality?
Ahem.
Ahem? Oh, that was a... Okay, see ya. Ahem.
Miss Navia, I can understand how you feel.
Whoa.
Your father, Callas, was
Oh
a
my
truly
God.
exceptional man. We deeply regret his passing.
That was I'm getting ready to say something, ahem.
And what are you trying to say, Monsieur Neuvillette?
Oh my god, the scene.
Are you trying to console me? Extend your sympathy? Or just express some tendril of regret?
This is incredible. Oh my freaking god.
No. You are not trying to do any of that. I can hear it in your voice. There's no emotion behind your words. You only said those things because you felt like you should.
This is one of those moments where you hold your breath. And he's not denying it. He's not denying it. Maybe he didn't actually feel like, you know, an emotion towards him. Who knows?
It's just like last time. After my father took his place in the duelist ring, I pushed through the guards to talk to you as a last resort.
Oh no.
You even told me then that you thought there was something fishy with the case, yet you still allowed the duel to go ahead.
Oh no. So this is another reason why she has like her faith shaking completely in the justice system.
In your eyes, the value of a human life is nothing compared to those cold laws you hold so dear.
Whoa. Gorgeous music, but like it's like I really feel like this is like again a hold your breath scene. Like there's so much like it's like one of those things where like if you're in the room with them like Wonder and Paimon, it's like witnessing this. It's not the word awkward I'm thinking of. It's more just like there's like so much like you can cut in with a knife. It's not even tension. It's like tension that's already bubbled up. Navia wasn't letting that bubble up anymore.
If you truly regret my father's death, then why didn't you call a stop to the duel?
Yeah, no, this is too much for the poor girl. And she doesn't have her bodyguards here to like take the heat, like, you know, explain how she's feeling. She has to do it by herself. I really feel so bad for her. And you can see the two in the back, they feel so bad for her too. Like, look at the tears in her eyes.
Give me the power to stop him from throwing his life away. Why did you just let him die? Despised and hated by all.
Navia. Again, it's all bubbled up. It's all bubbled up, and he triggered this reaction because it's one of those things where like sometimes people need to hear, like they're kind of quiet about things. Maybe they won't always talk up about things. And then when someone says something that they disagree with, where it's like, okay, you give me a chance here. This is my opening to really talk about how I feel. This is all emotions. And she's been thinking about this for so long.
Everything was hanging on a thread at that moment. Just the tiniest effort could have changed
Oh, dear
everything.
Lord, this is so hard to watch. The poor girl.
There are still so many things I never got to tell him. So many questions he still owes me answers to.
This is so like and like Genshin like intentionally doing these animations here with the tears as well that we'd never seen before. It's so freaking sad.
If you really have no heart, then just look me in the eyes. I, Navia, will show you the true meaning of regret.
Navia, I will show you the meaning of regret. And she wants him. It's like she wants him. Hey, look at me. Look at me. This is what happened. This is where it ended up. This is who we left behind. Oh my God! I'm gonna die.
I'm sorry, Miss Navia.
You and my father are truly alike. You keep all kinds of things in your heart and never say a word to anyone.
This scene is one of the like most well-written scenes, and it's saying so much about the scenes in Genshin. Like when you compare it to any scene in Genshin, that says so much.
It's not so much that you can't feel, but that you would never express anything.
And she's expressing everything now.
Oh well. In any case, everyone already knows full well the apathy of the Chief Justice.
She's going all out. She's going all out.
My apologies for taking my emotions out on you, Monsieur Chief Justice. Let's go, Traveler and Paimon.
Again, I think that wasn't a real, like, she didn't mean it as an apology. We'll go, Navi, wherever you need to go right now, we'll go. We'll go wherever you need to go. Wherever. Oh my God. Oh. Have you ever had...
Navia, are you okay?
Yeah, no, she's definitely not. She's definitely not. But you ever had those things where like something you kept inside for so long, maybe about someone you don't like or someone who has upset you? The rain, of course, starts right now, of course. Maybe it's someone who has done something wrong to you, and someone has like continually done something wrong to you. And maybe it could have been 5 years ago, 6 years ago, right? And have you ever had like you've just kept it inside? And then someone says something, and it could be something that's completely not related to, or in this case it was related, but it could be something like, you know, how do I say it? And I'm going to use a petty example because it's way different, because I don't want, like, I don't have any real world examples for me with like this, like with the parent dying. But like, it's like, you know, someone like wrecked something belonging to you or destroyed something belonging to you, and then you turn around, like, and then you don't say anything. You say it's fine, or you just ignore them for a while, and then later on they say something like, oh, like, you know, like, that would be crazy, you know, I can't imagine like someone doing something like that. And they're like, and you kind of, then you turn around, you let it all out. You're like, well, you did this, and you did this, and you said this. It's like almost like it's like the last thing that breaks the dams to the flood coming out. And I really feel like what triggered that right there, that instantaneous moment was an attempt at like an apology that she felt was hollow, that she felt didn't mean a thing, because it's like your actions showed something different, Neuvillette. And that's what she was saying to him. Now, we don't know obviously like the full story of everything yet, but for Neuvillette, what she was saying to him, for Navia, was saying, I can't, your apology means nothing because I asked you for help. And there's this desperation of her going around everywhere. Right, she's trying to solve the mystery of what happened to her father. She's trying so desperately to find out what happened, to clear his name. And she says to Neuvillette, you let him die. Not only just let him die, but you let him die knowing that you thought that he wasn't guilty. But your laws are more important to you than your emotions. If someone said that to me, I don't care how strong I am, I don't care how like much responsibility I have, that is going to haunt me for the rest of my life. And looking into Navia's eyes that were so full of tears, I am haunted. I would not be able to get that image out of my head ever again. Ever.
I'm fine.
I hope you are. And I know you're not. And it's okay not to be fine. It's so okay.
Rain. It's raining.
Yeah.
You're right.
This music here is gorgeous. It was so beautiful.
Sunny when we went into the building, and there shouldn't be any active trials today. How strange.
Now that I think of it, on the day my father was convicted of murder, it was also raining.
Rain?
What is it? Did you think of something?
Your father's case, was he outside when it happened?
Yeah, he was outside. It was uncovered and the rain could fall there. Why? Do you think the rain could have affected the crime scene?
I mean, it could wash away some things as well. And before I go any further, I want to say as well that the dialogue in that scene, the way that it was shot, the way the tension was when she had her back turned to him as he apologized, right? Because again, it's an apology to a back. It's not the same thing as an apology to the face, right? And I think that's, he even turned his head away for a bit as well, because it's difficult, man. Like, to look into the eyes of someone who, like, really, like, is not a fan of you, it's difficult. That was an incredibly directed scene, incredibly written scene. We'll go on with the crime scene aspect now.
That thought has occurred to us before. We've even expanded the search area to try to account for that, but didn't find anything of value.
But there was something you didn't know at the time.
Oh? Wait. You don't mean...
The fact that people could be turned into water?
So you're saying that the true murderer could have been turned into water and then got washed away with the rain?
Insane. Insane that it's all connected, all coming back to this now.
Yeah. And if that's what had happened, then no one would have believed your dad, even if he explained what he saw to the authorities.
I really think I found a true genius for a partner. You're completely right. How did I not connect the dots earlier?
Oh my god, it's your own father. Don't ever ever blame yourself for not connecting that. Like, that's difficult. That's your father.
All right, let's go to Poisson. With this new lead in mind, we'll get to the bottom of my father's case for sure.
Sure thing. Sure thing. Whatever you need.
Yeah, we're gonna make progress for sure this
Yep,
time.
whatever you need.
Do you want to go with me now? Or do you want to head over by yourself later?
We'll go with you now, right? Or should we walk there? What you guys, we should go when the idea is still fresh. This is kind of a break in the gameplay, but I feel like, I'm trying to think, is there anything we need to do on the way? Yeah, I think we should go there with her, right? Especially since, story-wise for me, I wouldn't want to leave her alone at this moment. So yeah, let's go.
Great. Let's
Yeah,
go then.
I'm up for it. I'm 100% up for it. Yeah, they constantly give you breaks in the gameplay with this, by the way. They know this as well. Genshin isn't silly when it comes to that stuff. Oh my god. A jumping board here. Genshin isn't silly when it comes to that stuff. They know to give you breaks at moments. And those breaks are basically just so you can, because they know not everyone is going to play all these Archon quests in one big go. They know not everyone's going to, finish an Archon quest in one, or an act of an Archon quest in one big go. So it is this thing of we kind of want to make sure they're enjoying themselves. And one of the worst things that you can have in a game is, and by the way, I'm playing Raincoat right now, this also does it very well too, is when they give you breaks, what does this allow me to do? It allows me to check my, wishes. It allows me to check this book over here. It allows me to, rearrange teams. It allows me to maybe go off and get a drink. It allows me to do this. It allows me to, sorry, I'm just giving an example here. It allows me to come back an hour later, come back 2 hours later, giving you a natural break in the story, and they do this quite a bit. There is a natural break in all the Archon quests, maybe apart from the Sub-Zero's festival, but that's obviously, there are exceptions, of course, and there's okay to have exceptions. Raincoat does it as well, where every, and it might seem kind of clunky, but I appreciate it, where every time you find out a new piece of information, they'll be we should talk to Kurumi about this, and it'll go over and the game will stop, give you a chance to save, do what you need to do, and then you can talk to Kurumi afterwards. So there's not just this constant long stint without being able to save your game or go off and take a break. And I appreciate that so much. We're going into Poisson, which we came into earlier. I'm very interested to see how things go here. This was a place where we saw a mob boss do a mafia hit right in front of us, and we were oh, cool. Very interesting stuff happening here. Such an interesting location, right?
Whoa, what a huge ship! Why would a ship be anchored at a
Actually, it's so nice seeing this now through Paimon and Wander's eyes as well, because we were like, this is amazing, but like through their eyes, it's like, you know, the most incredible thing ever, and I like it too. It makes you feel that way too, doesn't it?
You need to be so surprised. While it may look like a ship, it's actually Spina di Rosula's headquarters.
Wow.
My father was the one who asked for it to be built like this. Perhaps our taste in exterior design is the only thing we occasionally had in common.
So you didn't have a lot in common as well?
A gigantic and glamorous ship embodies discovery, opportunity, ambition, and conquest. It symbolizes Spina di Rosula's bright and limitless future.
Wow, I think I'm starting to get why you like it, for sure. I love things that embody something else. And also Navia always doing these like different poses as well, you know? She knows where to find the camera. That's what they say like in wrestling. Like, you know someone's a star. You know, even though she's not into the performance aspect of things, she could, because she knows where to find the camera always. You know, not looking at the camera, knows where the camera has her best angles. Genius.
And Paimon thought you were bluffing when you said Spina di Rosula had a glorious past. Paimon was confused why a group with such a history would live in the sewers.
I think it's fair, especially like, you know, Paimon asking this question, especially since we came from so many different locations where like, you know, the biggest organizations had like gigantic headquarters in a lot of ways, you know? Or at least like they had their own, you know, well-built buildings as well.
But now that Paimon has seen this ship for herself, she's been convinced.
Well, Poisson is where Spina di Rosula began, after all. It's our main base, our home.
I could follow Navia forever. I'm like getting like emotional because like not because it's like a really sad moment for me, because like obviously like we already had an incredibly sad moment, an incredibly powerful moment in this episode. But the reason I'm getting like kind of emotional and choked up is because this is why I love Genshin. It's a character like Navia, you know. It's a character that we you know, and it's happened so many times. You know, we came to Sumeru to see Calais, and Calais is one of our favorite characters ever. In fact, I think, you know, in terms of well-written characters across the manga and the actual game as well, I would put her in the top 3 easily. But it's more just like a case of like we go to like, you know, certain places to like we went to Inazuma for Kazuha and we got to see so many amazing Kazuha stuff. But then like you also stay for the other characters too. And this is what's so amazing about it. It's like I didn't expect to be here with Navia, you know, after she was in the banner. But what we have now is an amazing interaction with Navia to the point that I could follow her to the ends of the earth and want to as well. I'm so excited every time we talk to her. It's beautiful. This is what Genshin's all about. Genshin is incredible like that. I appreciate it to death. Oh, there's Millis and there's a cat. Which one do we talk to first? You can talk to him. I'm just a cat. Okay, Mr. Cat. What are you hiding? I'm hiding the fact that you used your team wrong. Hey! And people saying you didn't know what left or right were. No, son! Hey! Hey! Just saying the truth of the matter. Just orange cat vibes. Oh, see you later. Oh, don't hurt me. I'm just a little cat. I would never harm a cat. Okay, good. Well, if you're wondering, Melis is behind me. Otherwise known as your right. Oh, yes, just a cat. You're beautiful. I know. Yeah, you're such a cute cat. Swear to God. You're so cute.
Melouse, we're back.
Apologies for the wait, demoiselle, and our most important partner.
This guy's voice acting is fantastic too.
You said before that you still had some business at the court. What brings you back to Poisson so quickly?
About that. It's because my partner here reminded me of something really important. You see, what if my father's case had something to do with water from the primordial sea? You still remember, right, Melouse? On that night, it was raining?
Yes, the case was quite similar to that of Mr. Linney's. Both were what you'd call impossible murders.
Could the mastermind be the same person then?
Could you tell us a bit more about what happened before?
Yeah, of course. Many years ago, something called synth began to gain popularity in Poisson.
So he's the word, yeah, the synth, right?
At a glance, it was a kind of drink that could excite your mood and produce many pleasant hallucinations.
Whoa, okay. Hallucination drink.
Wait! Didn't that guard guy who turned into water also mentioned that the primordial water could be used to produce some kind of potion?
Yes, he did. Considering what we know now, it's almost certain that synth is created using water from the primordial sea.
Insane. Also, like, this is another thing that like is underrated in Genshin, and I want to like talk about it as well. I know I'm going off so much because I'm just so appreciative that we're even getting to play this game. Facial expressions always really good, you know. And I think we don't talk about it as much as we should because like there's so much emotion in the eyes from such like, you know. And again, it's not like it's exaggerated or anything. Look at Navia now. You get so much just from looking at her right now in this one scene. You know?
If you drink synth for an extended amount of time, you'll suffer many side effects, such as losing the ability to focus or control your emotions.
Man, that's alcohol maybe.
And if you were to stop drinking it completely, you'll experience flashes of paranoia and anxiety while lacking energy to do anything.
That's bad.
It's an extremely dangerous substance.
And it's like you become dependent on it.
As he oversaw Poisson, my father was compelled to put a stop to synth abuse and called for a complete ban of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as you should. As you should. Your father was right.
Boss's uncompromising attitude incurred the synth vendor's wrath, but no matter how much they threatened or bribed him, he refused to yield.
So he kind of, that's honestly, Navia, I feel like that's a lot of you as well, you know? The refusal to yield.
Not only that, Boss became determined to find the mastermind behind the synth operation and put an end to the problem once and for all.
Yes, but the enemy was very cunning. So he could never get anything out of the dealers, all of whom only sold the stuff and weren't privy to the rest of the operation.
Okay.
Recognizing that, my father decided to contact the dealers in secret and cultivate personal relationships with them. Finally, he was able to convince someone to become his informant. The man's name was Jacques. He felt greatly ashamed about his work after seeing many families destroyed by synth abuse.
It's crazy because like it's we heard about synth before, right?
That night, my father hosted a banquet at his countryside estate. He planned to meet up and exchange information with Jacques over some food. But then, we heard 2 gunshots from the courtyard. We raced to the scene and found my father, still holding a gun, and Jacques, who was already dead on the ground.
So that's again, from an outside perspective, that's pretty damning.
Huh? How did that happen? Aren't they on the same side?
Sounds just like Lenny's case, doesn't it? In both cases, the culprit seemed obvious, but neither appeared to have any motive at all.
That's interesting. I wasn't actually going to think of it that way, but that actually makes a lot of sense. It's like the idea of like, you know, it's almost too obvious, right? Because with Lenny, it was like, why would he do it in his place of work? It's the equivalent of like, you know, a freaking car mechanic dropping a car on someone, you know? It's like, why would you do it here? You know what I mean? Why would you do that?
Looking back on it, though, I now believe the most important clue was something we all overlooked at the time. There were pieces of clothing left at the scene.
Ah, Jesus Christ. I guess, like, okay, I'm saying Jesus Christ now from the perspective of someone who's seen this happen already, but, like, I suppose if it was still fresh at the time, you're going to overlook that. So it could have been belonged to someone who got dissolved.
Precisely. It's all thanks to you that I made the connection now. Back then, we all just thought they were some costumes that Jacques used to disguise himself at the banquet. But, considering it now, it's almost certain that they belong to a third person at the scene. With one extra person, we'll also need to reconsider why the 2 shots were fired.
But it's also possible the third person was to blame? Maybe?
You're right. We still don't know what happened. But my intuition tells me that we're on the right track to figuring it all out. I'm finally headed towards the truth.
Do you hear that? Do you hear how good that freaking voice acting is? Man, Jesus Christ, I love Navia so much. Yeah, the little shakiness, I'm finally heading towards the truth. You know, the excitement about it? Like, that's so good.
Jacques was an empathetic man who was infinitely remorseful for his past actions. It's unlikely that he turned on Boss with 0 warning. I think this third person is probably the key to the full truth. On that note, however, even though this will not please you, demoiselle, as you're and your father's butler, I must still offer a word of warning. Our opponent is insidious and cruel. They are extremely difficult to deal with, and Boss has already lost his life trying to bring them to justice.
Again, like, I think, like, the musical tone that comes across in all these conversations is so interesting.
Even though Spina de Rosula has lost most of its former glory, Poisson has welcomed a new time of peace, and we have been allowed to live out our lives.
And they show a kid going by as soon as he says that.
There is no need to follow your father's path. It would be both wise and in line with Boss's wishes to step back and give up on the case.
If that's indeed what he wished for, then he should have told me that himself.
She's still obviously upset by the idea that he hadn't told her everything. Obviously.
Was I not the closest person to him?
Yeah, there we go.
And yet, I was the one most kept in the dark.
Again, you can't help but, like, completely understand where, like why she's upset, right? It's like, it feels like she's, you know, disconnected while also, like, being, like, the hardest working person for her father too, you know?
What was the point of him dying without sharing any of the secrets he knew? Did he manage to protect anything in the end? Synth is still here. Callas the Unfaithful is still his epithet. And Spina di Rosula is barely getting by. Nothing has changed. Did he think I'd just accept his meaningless death and live out my life just as meaninglessly?
Right, so she feels like this peace is not that she feels like the peace is not good, but she feels as though, like, the kind of, like, you know, moving on without understanding all the truth is kind of, like, feels kind of meaningless.
I've never accepted that. Ever. Not since that day, and certainly not now.
I respect her. I respect this girl so freaking much. I respect her so much I could cry. Honestly.
I want to find out the real answer for everyone's sake. For the missing girls.
Yes.
For the victims. And for myself.
Yes. I honestly, I will follow this girl. I will follow this woman all the way into the depths of hell if she needs me to. Honestly.
Navia.
Yeah, no, she's fantastic, Paimon. And, like, her conviction is amazing. And, like, you can't deny her emotions and how passionate she is about this. But also, like, just because of, like, how devastating this must be for her. I want to be there as well. I want to be there to help. She has helped us. Of course we'll help her as well. Even if she didn't help us, like.
This is indeed the best moment to act. Your partner appears to be quite reliable. And more importantly, Demoiselle, I think you're also ready to take this on.
Oh my god, that feels so good.
So you do know something else, Malus.
So he has some information? But, like, saying that to her, oh my god.
Yes, I do. In fact, even before that banquet, Boss already knew of the connection between Synth and the serial disappearances case.
So oh.
But what drove all the tensions to the boiling point was the revelation that you, Demoiselle, had been selected as the next target to disappear.
What? So she was already selected?
What?
So there's 2 times when they tried to make her disappear. Well, 3 times now. If you count the gardenage.
Boss also didn't tell you that he had been diagnosed with a rare illness.
That is
the doctors
so
told him that he had
effed up.
No more than 5 years left to live. And the serial disappearances case caused him great anxiety. 5 years was nowhere near enough time to resolve this long-standing conflict. But once he passed away, all the danger would pass on to you. Knowing all of this, he decided to use one final intimidation tactic before his death. He claimed to have already gotten his hands on some key incriminating evidence for the other side, and even told some members of Spina di Rosula about the details.
Even, like you?
But as long as you remained safe, he would not share the evidence with the public.
They went back on this. They tried to kill her twice now.
If something were to happen to you, then he and all those he told would immediately expose all they knew about Synth and the disappeared victims.
Right, so nobody would be able to get off scot-free.
Yeah, but they tried to kill her. Whoever's behind this tried to kill her.
As we've seen, Boss's tactic has worked. Even though Boss has been gone for a long time, the other side has not tried to take Demoiselle's life.
The drink!
No, I don't believe it. He never appeared to
Yeah,
look
this is a
sick
big
to
deal.
me.
Is another thing she didn't know. Maybe they don't count the drink as that, maybe?
No father wants their daughter to see them weak and haggard, especially someone as proud as Boss.
But see, from Navia's perspective, she just wanted to be let in. She just wanted to know more about his life.
To him, dying in a duel and suffering lasting dishonor as the unfaithful was still far preferable than losing face in front of his daughter.
That's so hard. Someone who wants so badly to look good in front of his daughter and to be that person that she can look up to. But then, of course, his death actually led to like a lot of uncertainty for her, which you can't always plan, right? Because in that moment, you're thinking, I'm doing the right thing. Oh, Navia. Like, this is so hard for her.
So he chose to die in silence so that he could protect me.
Look at her. This isn't going to be easy again.
I'm afraid you're not understanding this correctly, demoiselle. What Boss wanted to hand to you was not a parasol, but a sword.
What a line.
If Boss's spirit could hear you telling me that you want to find the answer for the sake of everyone involved, I'm sure he'd be extremely
Oh my
proud.
god, that line, the idea of like, and again, it goes with like Navia's character, the idea of like a parasol versus a, and there's nothing wrong with holding a parasol. I think that's such a great, concept too, because, I think she has a parasol as well, right? But like the idea of a parasol versus a sword so fits her character and the ideals of her character of being someone who like said to herself, like, again, there's nothing wrong with being a fancy lady, but she also believes that fancy ladies can also like fight back as well, and that's like, something we all know and should all know.
That fool. Couldn't
Oh,
he
the
have
tears
just
again, I
given
can
it to
see
me
them,
straight?
Navia.
No.
Oh my
He
god.
might have set up everything precisely because he never thought I'd be able to understand him.
The voice actor's so freaking good for Navia, but also like this, like, I can't stand to see her with those tears in her
the amount
eyes.
of confidence he had in me? And what if I was never able to make it to where I am now?
He gave you the choice to live how you want. And if that's the case, look what you're doing. Like, you are a character who's been like a beacon here for us in Fontaine. We're so glad we met you.
Yeah. I suppose that's true. With the way he'd set things up, if I had wanted, I could have just lived out my life without a care in the world.
She's incredible. She's absolutely incredible.
But thankfully, he rarely talked to me about complex matters, and thus understood little of me as a person. In this case, he really didn't need to give me an easy way out. Malus, what was the key evidence that he shared with you?
And like, I know I'm like stopping and like, cause I don't care. Like, if someone doesn't like me stopping to talk about all, I like talking about every single thing they say in this game. Like with Navi, it really feels like when like what she's like, the perspective she's coming from here is like, it's more like this thing of like, again, it feels like this distrust. It feels like you didn't let me in on all this stuff. It's like, what if I never ended up here? But like, from my perspective, it's like, she's incredible. She's really incredible.
It's the location where synth is produced.
What?
Essentially, it's
What?
the enemy's headquarters.
That's huge.
When he was threatening the enemy, Boss didn't share the specifics of the incriminating evidence he found. But if you want to use it against the enemy, you'll still have to take several things into consideration.
Why? If we know where the place is, can't we just go storming in?
Yeah, I don't think Resistance Inazuma style is gonna work this time around, I don't think.
You mustn't forget that we're fighting against a mysterious and dangerous organization
Right.
that's been in operation for decades.
We don't know enough about them. What would they do to us,
There's no telling what might be lying in wait at their headquarters. We also have no idea what kind of evidence we may be able to find inside, nor what people we may be able to capture. But a single visit to their headquarters would be tantamount to a formal declaration of war.
Jesus.
The worst case would be that we leave empty-handed, but also open ourselves up to full retaliation.
Then, in that case, why not work with the Fontaine authorities?
Well, you saw one of them dissolve during Mr. Linney's case. We have no idea just how thoroughly
We said this
they
last
may
time.
have been infiltrated.
We said this last episode. We do not know how many people are working within the org. Yes, 100%.
That's true. Seems my father really had no choice.
If Navi needs to slow down as well, we can totally slow
Things
down.
are different now.
I think that's not in
It
her.
should be a lot easier to prove the other side's guilt, now that we've connected Synth with the disappearances case.
You sound like you've put a lot of thought into this, Malus.
Yeah.
I am the butler, after all. I live but to serve the boss and Demoiselle's will. I've always been willing to take on any kind of risk for your sake. But considering my relative lack of ability, I've spent my time keeping secrets, performing basic investigations, and waiting for the right time to come.
Thank you for all of that, Malus.
No, it's incredible.
Have you discovered anything new in the past few years?
Let me think. One conclusion I came to was that the enemy must be quite familiar with Spina di Rosula, or at least have an informant planted
That's
here.
terrifying.
When I announced orders to the organization's members on Demoiselle's behalf, I used to deliberately keep a few people in the dark and observe the reactions
smart.
of the synth vendors.
So smart. We're so glad to have this guy on our side.
If the vendors didn't change their plans, then the individuals informed of our orders must be innocent. If the vendors packed up and fled, however, then someone must have given them the news.
That's, again, this is actually like something that like is actually a smart thing to do, to give people different information in this sense.
After several rounds of testing and investigative tracing, I've narrowed the suspect list down to 3 people. The first is Florent, Spina di Rosula's senior advisor.
Senior advisor.
Huh? Florent?
Yes, surprising, isn't it? He was one of the people Boss trusted the most, which also means that he was someone who understood Boss really well. Thanks to his position within Boss's innermost circle, he always knew our upcoming plans and could thus avoid capture this whole time. There's someone else like him too. Marcel, the head of Confrérie of Cabrières.
Uncle Marcel.
Uncle? What is the confrérie?
It's a guild in Poisson. The boss helped it to grow to its current size and prominence. In the beginning, they were only reselling some daily goods, but now they're one of the richest guilds around, with a lot of business connections in the city.
So, they're like a sister organization of Spina di Rosula?
Yes, you can say that. When we were fighting against the synth dealers, they provided us with plenty of support.
Okay.
It's a bit difficult to imagine someone using their own money to hunt down themselves.
Great way to avoid suspicion.
The final suspect is Thierry, the man responsible for coordinating information between Spina di Rosula and the guards.
And now the guards have been infiltrated as well.
Although the guards mostly leave us to our own devices, there are still many activities we have to report to the local authorities. Since Thierry is always in the know about our current activities, he could theoretically always plan one step ahead.
I see. These are all people who I communicate with quite
Again,
regularly.
it feels like again the lack of trust, right? It's gonna shake her
To
again.
think that the enemy we've been fighting against has been right next to me all along, among those I trust the most. It's almost too hard to believe.
If you want to investigate them, please take every precaution to not alert the quarry. Judging from our experience, the enemy is extremely cautious.
Of course. And thank you, Malus. You've provided us with a lot of great information.
You're too kind, my lady. I'm just doing my duty.
No, this was fantastic.
And before I forget, proving Boss's innocence would also mean clearing him of blame in Jacques' death.
Right.
After that incident, Jacques' wife and daughter were taken into the Spina's care. They still live in Poisson today.
Right.
If it might help, you could also pay them a visit. I can make the necessary arrangements.
Oh, thank you so much, Malus. You really are the best.
No, he's great. He's great.
A new case awaits, my dear partner.
Partner, leave it to me. Leave it to us.
I hope we can work together to uncover the truth and end this case once and for all.
Couldn't ask for a better partner. Oh my god, what? Another investigation? Wait. Wait a second. This is another investigation. So are we gonna have another court case? It's not. We're doing a freaking like attorney investigation again. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. To talk about Navia really quickly, there's because not really quickly, but like we'll talk about Navia. To me, in terms of writing dialogue, right? I think that like the Genshin characters like are something that no one really prepared me for as I looked at Genshin from the outside. Which was also like how like well written characters can be, because we see it all the time. Like we saw with like Calais, we saw with Xiao, we saw with Vaughn. It's so well written, right? And I feel like Navia, look how pretty this is, joins those ranks so easily for me of like characters that are just like holy hell. Like the writing of this character is incredible, and the dialogue is something that's like so natural and feels so real. It's really incredible what they did with Navia. And I feel like there with Navia, like the crying, now she's with us, I really feel like it's one of those situations where she's with someone who she's not used to knowing and like doesn't know very well. So there isn't that thing of like someone who like she has to like it's almost like a fresh start, right? It's like someone who is willing to help her investigate. It's something that shocked her. She was like, oh my god, you're willing to help? Because probably for years people are like, that's crazy, what are you talking about? She's probably doing a lot of this stuff like without the most information in the world. So it kind of like, it is probably this buildup of emotions. And now she has two people who are basically like have been through so freaking much. And again, in Ether's case, someone who like knows what it means to search for the truth of something to help a family member out in a way. So like the whole thing of like, the tears every few moments, and the tears like, not every few moments, like twice now that have built up through two conversations, like about her father. I really feel like she's a character right now that is going, right? And we have to let her feel those emotions as she's going through, because it really is like it's almost going to be like a safe haven for her in a lot of ways. But you can tell there's a lot of build up inside of her of those emotions. And every once in a while, and we've seen twice now, they've like come out. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. It's not, over the top. It's not extreme. No one would ever judge you for that. In fact, like, it's something that is so natural and so real. It's one of the most realistic portrayals you can see of someone who has like a lot of built up inside of them, a lot of emotions built up inside of them.
You give.
And when it comes out to the surface, it manifests in very, very, very different ways and ends just as quickly sometimes too. You know what I mean? Those like, it's like sometimes it's just like a quick cry, and it's like, okay, now we're back to this part. And sometimes that can be a little bit dangerous too, because it's like you want them to like, if Navia wanted, if she wanted to just sit down and cry for like 10 hours, I'm pretty sure it would help. But also at the same time, she's also a very much a go-getter. Let's go, let's keep going. And you gotta appreciate that all the same too, I feel like, when it comes to Navia. I think she's such a well-written character. I will swear by this character. In the right catching. So it's up here. So traveling over here. Yep. Look at this team, by the way. Actually, like a very cool team. Yeah, Xiangling is a character who we have been thinking about using for a while. Actually, very easy to level her up just because all of her stuff is like in Liyue, Watch him. Suspicious. No, don't kill him. It's just a suspicion. It's just a suspicion I have. So sick. All like the different fish as well, just hanging from here is so weird. Could you let me down? Could I let you down? I'm still very much alive. I think they'll be angry if I let you down, Okay. Well, you have a nice day then. No problem, sir. Hello, cat.
It is settled then. Please excuse me, and enjoy your conversation at your leisure.
Thank you for arranging everything for us, Malus.
So interesting to talk to this guy's family.
Excuse me, miss. Do you need anything from us?
She doesn't like us?
Hey, Navia's all quiet. This isn't like her at all.
Let's not bother her for now. I guess let her kind of process through this.
I'm sorry that I only came to visit after all this time. After what happened, I didn't know how I was supposed to face the two of you.
If it's about that, there's no need to apologize. After my husband died, Spina di Rosula sent us a lot of mora and support. I understood your guilt and apology to be genuine.
So that's probably what the daughter's staring daggers at her.
Aren't all of those things nothing compared to the loss of Jacques? I can understand the kind of pain that comes with losing a father so needlessly.
You don't understand at all.
Oh my god.
I didn't know how to face you, because I didn't know what I could possibly bring as a consolation gift. I know only the full truth could bring closure to you, and to all of us.
She's not accepting this.
I'm sorry. I appreciate the sentiment, but you don't have to carry all that guilt. On the matter regarding my husband, my daughter and I have more or less found our answer already.
And how hard is it for them to be left behind as well, you know?
Would you mind sharing it with me? I really can't believe that my father could ever bring himself to shoot Jacques.
I always knew that my husband's money was earned through others' suffering.
Jesus.
He told me countless times that if he could turn back the clock, he would never go into the synth business again. He had many regrets, and felt that he took the idea of providing for his family too literally. For the longest time, he thought Mora was everything. So when Mr. Callas came to him with a proposal, he accepted it almost immediately. He tried to be as careful as he could, but even so, he was still found out by the higher-ups.
Interesting going down there, right?
They found out about his betrayal?
Papa didn't say that exactly, but Papa did tell me that I should never be ungrateful.
Before he left that day, he told me that he had no choice. It was only later that I realized it was his final farewell to the two of us.
Does that mean someone ordered Jacques to take out Callas?
I don't know that for sure, but you could say that's the conclusion I eventually came to.
Man.
Which is why I'm the one who should feel guilty. Callas had always taken great care of us, both when he was still alive and after he passed away. Even if he fired the shot that killed my husband,
Whoa.
it was likely in self-defense.
Whoa.
It is impossible for me to hate him for what he had done.
He must have been a good dude if like, because it's hard to to get to this point that takes not only a lot of maturity, but like a lot of like self-growth, like, you know, to get to this point where you can look at the person who like apparently killed your husband and be like, oh, he probably had a reason to do it. You know what I mean? That's like, that's crazy growth and maturity, you know what I mean? And it's not even maturity, it's more just like that's crazy, a crazy realization about yourself that you can even do that.
But Mama, why is Papa still the bad guy if he did the right
Oh, Adele, that's probably so hard for this girl, like the idea of people calling her father the bad guy.
thing? Papa always wanted to be a good man, so why did he have to do a bad thing in the end?
That's, how does a kid understand this?
Well, things aren't always as they seem. You still feel like your papa was a good man, right?
Yeah, Papa was a really good man. The best in the whole world.
Then you should hold on to that.
Great way of looking
If
at
a
it.
good man had to do a bad thing, then he must have had his reasons.
Navia, like, doing a lot of work for another kid who was like in a, and not a, I guess a similar situation, but not that, not exactly similar.
Regardless of whether he left you a parasol or a sword, he must have done so to give you a better life.
Oh, the shakiness in her voice. She's talking about herself as well. Man. That line, parasol or a sword, is so amazing. Because the parasol is obviously protection. The sword is a need to fight back, right?
Oh.
I suppose not everything, it's not, either one is not right or wrong, right? It's how you see it yourself.
Thank you for everything you've told me. I will definitely find the truth. The current state of things is not something I'm willing to just sit back and accept.
Right. This is her sword. Whereas Adele might need a parasol. You know, Navia might, you know, see it as a sword.
Thank you. I'm very grateful to hear this from you. Even though your personality is quite different from your father's, your determination
Look at her face.
when you speak.
Look at the
is
light in her
very
eyes.
similar.
You really think so? That's the first time anyone said that to me.
Wow. We are doing a full investigation here. Oh my god, this is the best. This is the absolute best. I need people to understand, like, how much I appreciate the game mechanics. Oh, here we go.
I'm fine. Don't worry. Let's investigate the 3 suspects next.
Yeah. I'm like...
Florent should be nearby, and we should be able to find Thierry and Uncle Marcel in the city. I'll get myself together on the way.
No.
So please don't worry.
Yeah, so this is another thing. It's like, okay, again, like I said, I would like her to sit down and cry for 10 hours. Not in a bad way, like, I want you to cry, but you know what I mean? Sit down and just all of us just sit down and cry, you know? Yeah, because she's definitely pushing a lot of it down still.
I'll leave my husband's case to you.
Thank you, Miss Spina.
Oh.
And Miss Spina's friend.
Sweethearts. Absolute sweethearts. And for a kid to understand this or even get an idea of this, I guess, like, again, that's a very powerful imagery, the idea of a parasol or a or a sword. It's to me, it's like, it's incredible. It's incredible. It's incredible. Race you.
Greetings, boss. How may I be of assistance
I love
today?
that we're doing by the way, this whole thing. I'm over the moon.
I'm sure you've heard about what happened at the Opera House. Someone got turned into water right in front of us.
Yeah, I've heard. With something that dramatic, I'm sure journalists will milk it for all it's worth. And it'll be all the talk for the next several weeks.
It also reminded me, on the day that the incident happened with my father, it was raining outside, and we found some clothes left at the scene.
I'm never gonna get over the music in this game.
After my partner here put the dots together for me, I feel like we should try to reopen
Yeah,
his case.
and we're going to.
Can you do me a favor and try to recall what happened that night?
Let me think. Mr. Callas was feeling pretty upbeat that day. So he was drinking and bantering away with us at the table. After that, he told us that he wanted to go get some fresh air. So we let him go without thinking much of it. Who knew that we would hear 2 gunshots ring out right after?
Oh. So it's just a normal night for these guys. They were just like, okay. But then, for as far as he says, because of course we're still figuring out if we can trust Florent.
My first reaction was that Mr. Callas's life was in danger. So I grabbed my holster and made a mad dash toward the scene. But when I got there, it was already too late. Mr. Callas was standing over a dead body with a gun in his hands. All we could do was look back and forth at each other, not knowing what to say.
So you also remember 2 gunshots then?
Indeed. The guard said that the first shot didn't hit anyone, while the second killed Jacques. But I've never really bought that explanation.
Okay. So he didn't see this as accurate then.
Reason being, Mr. Callas had left his gun on the table. I even made sure to confirm that before running to the scene.
Okay. So he...
But according to the guards, that doesn't mean he couldn't have had other
Right,
guns on his
and that's
person.
something you can assert, but you need some evidence, right? You definitely need some evidence. He could have had another gun on him, for sure.
About the clothes left at the scene that you mentioned. Do you think there was a third person there who was turned into water?
It's very possible, but if there's close to the scene, I don't think it's very possible. I think it's accurate. I don't think there's any other way we can look at it, unless someone stripped down and then, went for a swim.
At least from our perspective, my father had no reason to kill. So he would also have no reason to bring an extra gun
That's
with
the thing,
him.
it's like for self-defense, why would he need 2 guns? Just bring the other gun with him.
The gun he was holding probably belonged to Jacques, or a third person on the scene.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're saying Mr. Callas ended up with the gun because he seized it from one of the other guys? But hold on. If that's what had happened, then why didn't he share the truth with any of us?
He didn't share the truth with many people, it seems.
He didn't even want to face the Oratrice machine, and chose instead to prove his honor in a duel. Did he lose all faith in the courts after seeing someone dissolve right in front of his eyes?
It's interesting as well with Navia not having faith in the courts either.
About that, Maloof's told me a thing or two. So, I think I can understand why he committed to the duel. I'll tell you everything, once the whole truth has been
Very smart.
revealed.
Yeah, don't tell him everything right now.
I understand. Then I'll leave Mr. Callas's honor in your hands.
You want to
boss.
give him enough that he can give us some information, but not too much that if he is trying to betray us, you don't give him everything.
And if I may just say one more thing, the whole Callas the Unfaithful epithet has been a thorn in my side since the day it was invented.
So you're not a fan of that at all?
Many people have laughed at me for still calling him Mr. Callas, even after so many years have passed.
So maybe he did. Well, obviously he left a lasting impression on everyone in Poisson.
But it was Mr. Callas's trust that allowed me to rise through the ranks of Spina di Rosula and live the life I lead today.
You can sense compassion in it, right?
No matter what others might say, he'll always be the man I respect the most.
Right.
And he'll always be my boss.
Right, yeah, and I don't want to ever disregard what anyone's ever saying because this is an amazing sentiment. It's an amazing sentiment. And again, I'm coming this from someone who's played 6 Ace Attorney games and 4 Danganronpa games and, a Raincoat now as well on the channel. Just on the channel in terms of... I played other detective games like the Detective Club games as well. Someone can equally have respect for someone and also have different motives to betray them and betray other people and be like an informant. So obviously... an amazing sentiment, but also Navi is so right to keep some information to herself, right?
Don't worry. I will definitely find the truth.
Yeah.
You and all our other comrades at the Spina deserve to know the truth as well.
Information regarding Florent. Florent, the advisor to Spina de Rosula, claimed that he was very grateful to Callas for his kindness. He was also present at the banquet on the day of the case and could provide evidence that Callas did not carry a gun with him when he went out. Don't know why you're staring at Shining Fur. Yeah, no, this is so interesting because we have a place like Poisson, which and the Spina de Rosula in general, where so much of this is based off we talked about not only second chances but a new life away from the ideals sometimes of Fontaine. We have multiple people now talking about the disagreeing with the way that the court system is laid out in Fontaine. So we have a bunch of people like this, but then also at the same time, where are we going? Speak to who? Thierry, okay. But also on the other side of things, we also have a whole bunch of, people that were supposed to trust. But again, it's human beings, right? It's humans. Not everyone's going to be totally truthful all the time. So, and some people you just think you can't trust, you will be able to trust. Some people you're supposed to be able to trust will not be the ones you're able to trust in the end. And I think that's what's so interesting about the way they're writing this story here is that we can't fully be 100% aware of everyone's alignment, I suppose is the best way to put it. Yeah? I think that's the best way to put it. So here he is, Thierry. They said the kind of liaison between the guards and Poisson and Spina de Rosula.
Thierry, it's me.
Thierry.
Oh, now, what brings you here, Miss Navia? I've heard that you made quite the name for yourself at the opera.
Is this about the case itself, the trial?
Oh, so you've got news of that already.
I love that she's become because she was the deciding factor in this, she's become such a celebrity because of it.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm also a member of the guards, The way you make it sound, people would think I was sent off to Poisson because I had done something wrong.
Are you sure there isn't a little bit of truth in that? Under normal circumstances, shouldn't you have been called back to the city already?
I mean, where I work is really up to me. Let's just say I enjoy the ambiance of Poisson.
It's nice, and I'd just like to see his words here again. It's the idea of I remember the guards, the way you make it sound, people would think I was sent to Poisson because I'd done something wrong. So he's saying that people from some people that do go to Poisson could have, again, we know this, the idea of second chances, right? But I think the ambience of Poisson is also lovely too.
Callas did a fantastic job running the town, building Spina di Rosula from the ground up and clearing many obstructions in my way. It would be next to impossible for me to find a similarly easy but high-paying job in the city. Anyway, enough chit-chat. Are these two friends of yours?
So we're finding again that there's
here for
more
some formal
people
business?
who are grateful and who admire her father.
Ah, yes. These two are my partners. What happened at the Opera House made us realize that Linny's case and my father's may be related. We're trying to reinvestigate the details of my father's old case.
Reopening this.
Ah, I get it. You think there might be more to the case now that we know people can be dissolved into water, right? I was also flabbergasted when I first heard of it. If you want to go through the original files from your father's case, I can help you look for them.
That'd be much appreciated.
Yep.
Thank you.
That'd be great.
Actually, I have another question. Do you have the authority to dispatch Gardamex?
Interesting question.
Of course. Without them, I couldn't possibly handle Poisson on my own.
Okay.
Why do you ask? We definitely can't use them to forcefully
No,
get
we weren't
more
asking
evidence
that.
for your
We're just trying to
father's
figure
case.
something out here, buddy.
Well, you see, just recently, we were attacked by a horde of unnumbered Gardamex in the city.
I want to see his reaction. What's your reaction?
So, if you hypothetically
Oh my
wanted
God,
to
Navia.
do something against me, all you would need to do was get rid of the mecha serial numbers and send them after me.
Then you think too highly of my abilities. Dispatching mecha is very different from controlling them.
Why is this now? Explain this now.
If I had to make an analogy, when you order a dish, the chef will make it for you. You can ask the chef to cook, but not to massage your shoulders or carry your baggage.
Okay.
If you try to make unreasonable demands, the chef would just think you're out of your mind and ignore you completely. The same goes for me and my Gardamex.
Right, okay, so I suppose it cannot go against its programming. So if you said something like to the Gardamex, like, hey, go attack that cat over there, and I would go crazy. Do not touch the cats. I love my cats. Go attack the cat. Go over there and pick up that cat and put him in jail. Like, instantly, the Gardamex would be like, that's not in my programming. So he's saying, like, you can't ask a chef to do something that's not his job.
Removing a serial number is also not as easy as you might think. There are a lot of complex steps to it, and it's almost impossible to keep it a secret.
Okay. So, like, we're learning a lot here, actually, about how, like, hard it must be to actually do this, which means someone went to great efforts to do this.
So I can promise you, those mecha were definitely private units. They're certainly not cheap. So, whoever their owner is must be super
Good info.
rich,
Really good info.
powerful, or both. Now that you mention it, though, being in the synth business would definitely be profitable enough to afford this.
So, reworking to the synth business again, and it makes sense.
Oh, then you're officially in the clear, Thierry.
With the point as well, the freaking Ace Attorney point.
Oh, thank you for the vote of confidence, Navia. Jokes aside, I'd like to wish you all the best with your investigation.
Thank you.
I'll be staying in the city for a little while, so just come find me if you need any support from the guards.
What if Navi does a Columbo thing? Like the Columbo thing? And just one more thing, Where were you on the night of this? That'd be great. Information regarding Thierry. Thierry is a person responsible for official contact between the Spina Rosula and the guards. According to him, only the sufficiently rich can privately own large numbers of Gardamex. Great information to know as well.
I'll see what I can do for you in Spina di Rosula when it comes to guard stuff, but don't go advertising it to everyone else.
Sure. So, there's a very genuine energy coming off of Thierry, right? Would you guys agree? I would say there's a very genuine energy coming off from Thierry. Look how pretty this place is. But I think as well, at the same time, I'm coming at this from my experience of playing detective games, right? I'm coming at this from the experience of playing detective games all the time. Or at least, like, not as much as maybe other people do, but I play detective games. Someone can have the most genuine energy possible. That don't mean they didn't do the crime. That didn't mean they didn't commit no crime. I'm just saying, right? You're gonna have detectives at your door in 2 minutes. Hey, so look at this area. We can actually climb here. That's actually terrifying. This is so high up.
Hello. How may I help you?
Calcany?
I'm here to see Marcel. Could you please let him know? You can just say Navia's looking for him. Sure. I will let him know right away.
After waiting for a while, Marcel arrives in a hurry.
Navia, hello. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm not as young as I used to be, so my legs are giving out a bit.
That's just what a criminal would say. Taking too long to get here, Marcel. You know, they say the person who's been doing all this criminal activity isn't as young as they used to be. That's their calling card. You're done. You're done, so. Get inside. Get inside the more Pete. Get inside the prison. You're done. You're done.
Oh, it's all right, Uncle Marcel. There's no need to stress.
See, we're doing good cop, bad cop. Me and Navia.
I just wanted to talk to you briefly about what happened in the Opera House. I'm sure you saw everything too, right?
Yes, I've never seen anything so strange.
Oh, you were at the Opera House too?
Strange. So, well, I guess a lot of people wouldn't even notice in the crowd, right?
That's right. I went there with Navia to see the magic show. Who knew it would turn into a whole murder mystery?
Yeah, nobody.
I also witnessed your marvelous sleuthing work. Quite impressive.
Paimon's so proud. Detective Paimon.
To beat the Hydro Archon at her own game on her own turf, I can already imagine everyone in Fontaine discussing your exploits over a few glasses of wine.
Oh, Paimon doesn't want to become the talk of drunkards.
Oh. I love Paimon so much, especially the reactions to this as well. You should call Diana. That's who you should call.
Apologies. It's just how Fontaine is as a nation.
Yep.
Everyone loves drama and theatrics.
Uncle Marcel, you've also noticed that other thing, right? The fact that humans can dissolve
It's
in
a
water?
pretty big deal.
Yes, I was reminded of your father's case right away. Is that what you're investigating now?
Exactly. I still don't have much solid proof, but I can sense that the other side has already begun to act.
Especially with the teacup and the guards, of course.
Oh, and what makes you say that?
We were attacked on Araneus by some unnumbered Gardamex. And there was also an attempt to get me to drink water from the primordial sea.
Which is scary.
If not for the vigilance of my partner, I probably wouldn't even be here talking to you right now.
Oh, you're giving us too much credit. Wasn't it you who protected
Exactly.
us?
Oh my god. Navia, take some credit.
Alas, it seems things are heating up again. The peace that Callas sought so dearly will soon become a thing of the past. But rest assured, Navia, Poisson will always remain a safe haven for you. If you're scared, you can always return
That's sweet
there.
to say.
If anyone dares to lay their hands on you there, the Confrérie of Cabrières will use its funds to the last Mora to bring them to justice.
Well, they just did attack her at the fountain. You know what I mean? If it wasn't for Clarand and, you know, Navia working together.
Thank you, Uncle Marcel. But I don't intend to go into hiding. I'm going to strike while the iron's hot.
She's not using the parasol.
Do you have any new thoughts on my father's case?
About that. Sorry, my age is catching up with me, so it'll take me a while to recall my memory. The Confrérie was responsible for that banquet, so I was out and about the whole time making sure things were running smoothly. I didn't even have the time to drink with the guests. Then I heard the sound of a gunshot, and the rest was history.
Oh, it's okay. No need to push yourself. We'll ask around some more. See if there are any valuable clues elsewhere.
Sounds good. Just let me know if you ever need more.
So he's like, okay, I can give you money, man. I'll give you money.
My wealth comes from Callas' patronage and support. I'll spend however much it takes to clear his name.
Again, people had so much respect for Callas, and it's so cool to see this. And I think for Navi, it's cool to see this too. But I think also what might mess her up as well is the idea that, like, yes, these people love my father, but now the person who seriously loved me and my father, Melus, is thinking that one of these guys might be a little bit suspicious. That would F me up. Marcel is the leader of the Confrérie and Cabaret, and was the organizer of the banquet years prior. The Confrérie and the Spina de Rosula have always maintained a close working relationship. This, though his recollection of the events of the case might be foggy, he's willing to defend Navia. And here's the thing, again, I'm coming at this from this perspective of like anyone could be a suspect, anyone could be withholding information. There is an idea here that could be happening where a character, you know, like oh, you okay? Yeah, there is like a character here who is like throwing money at the situation, right? That can also be a little bit suspicious. You know, it's like it's I don't know. You have to look at it from all perspectives. So to go up here, like go over the clues with Navia. I was intending to also like at some, maybe we'll do it tomorrow, to go over the next part of that quest. If it is, I don't know what the next part of the quest or where would it be, because I know it's not here. I know it's not that one. Is it somewhere else on the map that I can't see, I wonder? Maybe I have to go back down into the area where they hid the where they did the mafia hit. I'll find out. And we'll do the other part of the quest. Like I said, the way I'm exploring things, we are doing a lot of exploration, and we have done a lot of exploration. But I want to make sure that it's not overwhelming for me. So say we've literally only explored like these two parts, right? We haven't even fully explored them. And the idea is like then when we unlock another place, we're going to explore that, unlock another place, explore that. I think it's going to look absolutely fantastic once we do unlock every area here too. I really think it will. I was the first story quest. You were. Were we going over here? Okay. Whoa, that was interesting.
We've talked to all three suspects, purely based on their conversations with me.
Yep. Sorry guys, I had to go off for a tiny bit, like a half an hour. Got a visitor. But yeah, it was just don't worry, it's not serious. But thank God they save it right here. We got into like 3 lines into the conversation anyway.
With me.
Yeah.
None of them sounded particularly suspicious.
Yeah. None of them stood out as a suspect. And that's the thing, I think, when it comes to like, and I said this before I had to go, but I might as well put it here. Yeah, it's like the idea that like we said it, it's like all of them seemed like pretty reasonable people, but like you still have to suspect them, right?
I suppose that's to be expected, though. If a single conversation's all that's needed to find them out, then my father wouldn't have needed to investigate the case for so many years.
Yeah, it would be the easiest thing in the world to do.
Anyway, even though we didn't make a breakthrough, let's still compile what we were able to find.
But where should we start?
Jacques' motive?
Ah, you're right. Flora mentioned that Callas probably only ended up with the gun because of circumstance. That makes sense.
According to Jacques' family members, he already told them that he had been discovered and that he had no choice before he left home that day. If I had to guess, he probably received an order from the synth boss to kill my father. Had he refused, he and his family's lives would have been forfeit.
Right.
So, Jacques fired the first shot?
If I was Jacques, I wouldn't have fired the shot at all.
Oh? And why is that?
Could he guarantee his safety after killing Callas? That's interesting. How could you trust him? It's an interesting point, yeah.
Ooh, that's a good point. Jacques probably already knew that he was just being used as a tool for murder. And once he had completed his mission, he'd be of no more use to his
Yeah, they
boss.
probably killed him as well.
So, what would make more sense from his perspective would be to turn his back on the order and seek protection from my father.
Seems the third person was only the one who derailed everything.
Makes sense. But without evidence, that's still just a theory.
Yeah, but it's good to theorize sometimes.
Besides Jacques, the attack from the Gardamex has been bothering me quite a bit as well. It's obvious that our enemy has become more antsy after the secret of the primordial seawater was revealed.
Right after, yes, right after.
Do you think he knew, even then, that we'd follow this lead to the end?
Given everything that's happened since, it's quite possible. But who among the 3 suspects would have the ability to control privately owned Gardamex?
Out of all of them, right? Like, the closest person that we have to the Gardamex is Thierry, right? He's the one, because, like, I don't know, I feel like he's the only one who works with Gardamex, right? But he seemed pretty convincing. We'll try Thierry first anyway.
Thierry, you say? It is possible that he's figured out a way to convert the Gardamex for personal use, but I didn't feel like he was lying when he was talking to us about
That's
the
what I feel like too. Yep.
I also don't think he'd be able to keep that kind of tampering under wraps.
Yeah, no, and also the money aspect as well, right? You need to be rich, so maybe it's Marcel.
Yeah. Had he actually tampered with the mecha, we'd be able to prove it with a simple check of the guard's
There we go.
inventory.
Yeah, but the money aspect's a big thing too. I think like I should have like remembered that aspect too. Well, not remembered that aspect, but like taken that into account.
The guards, it should be pretty easy to find out when and how that happened.
Maybe it was someone else. So Marcel, maybe? I'm thinking Marcel then, because of the money.
Marcel? My father did really trust him. And they worked together on a large number of projects. Maybe that's how he got to know Jacques. And with funds from the Confrérie, he could also afford a large number of Gardamex. It's still really hard
It's
for me
not
to
him
imagine,
either.
though. After all, Uncle Marcel has been around since I was just a child. Also, wouldn't this mean he has been spending a whole lot of mora and energy to fight his own synth business?
Right, okay, maybe it was someone else. Are we saying then it was Florent? Okay, maybe I'm just bad at this.
Florent? It is true that he was closest to my father, and thus had the best chance of learning about his dealings with Jacques. But as Spina di Rosula's advisor, his work mostly deals with personnel and security, so he shouldn't have much means when it comes to finances.
So you're saying he's too broke to afford a mecha?
I mean, there we go. Like, that's a big point. Like, they're expensive.
Exactly. He can't. And even if he could, I don't think he would be able to dispatch a
So it's
whole
none of them?
group so
Okay, so maybe I'm not dumb. It's okay, everyone. False alarm. False alarm, everybody.
Who could it be?
So it has to be a fourth person. I think... Wait, what? Oh my god. They're giving us an option here? Florent, Thierry, Marcel. Is there any other person here? Wait. There's only 3 people here. Do we not have enough information yet? Wait, we have to give an idea of who this is. Oh, we have to choose. Florent, the advisor to Spina di Rosula, claimed he was very grateful. So it's which of the 3 suspects most likely to have committed the crime? Okay. But then, like, now she's giving us new information on this as well. I'm kind of, like, worried about which one it could be. So let's read through them all. Well, we read through them all. That's the whole point of this. Florent, the advisor to Spina di Rosula, claimed that he was very grateful to Callas. We know he was, for his kindness, and was also present at the banquet of the day, with the gun, wasn't it? And saw him not carry a gun out. Okay. Yeah, we knew this. Saw him not carry a gun with the gun when we went out. Yeah. And then we have Thierry. Thierry is the person responsible for official contact between Spina di Rosula and guards. According to him, only the sufficiently rich can privately own. Then that's Marcel, because he was throwing money around. But then again, obviously, he's going against his own business, right? Marcel's the leader of the Confrérie Cabaret and was the organizer of the banquet years prior. The Confrérie de Spina di Rosula has always maintained a close working relationship, though his recollection of the events of the case is quite foggy. He's willing to defend Navia. We can go with Marcel. If we're wrong, but like I think it's the money aspect is the biggest thing.
You know, if you think everything through, Uncle Marcel is indeed the
To me,
most
the money is
suspicious
the
of
biggest
them
thing, because
all.
that's like, and Thierry, doesn't have the money, neither does Florent.
Could we be missing other suspects? Malus didn't know about the people turning
I
into
love that they
water
give you the
people
option
when
like that,
he
though.
narrowed it down to these 3, did he?
Malus has always been very reliable, and his judgment of others' trustworthiness has been fair and well considered. When he laid out his case for the 3, the rationale he gave me made a lot of sense as well.
Okay.
The suspect is knowledgeable about the Spina's internal affairs, has the means to dispatch Mecha to assassinate us, and possesses significant intellect and foresight. Even if I don't want to believe it, I'm starting to see how things could all tie back
Also,
to
like,
Uncle
exactly, he's someone who's very close to you after all. Like, obviously, like, I go on, like, usually one big idea, but, like, I'm glad they also talk about the other ideas of how he could be that too, how he could be the suspect. He's someone who's very close to you after all.
Well, we still have another trump card on top of all the theorizing
The synth production base, yes!
Yes, Malus did say that charging straight in there would be extremely risky. But we don't have any other options.
We're actually gonna go there?
We need far more solid proof before we can hope to go charging in on our enemy.
Right.
Navia, here you are.
Thierry?
Oh, I've been looking for you.
Huh? Aren't you
Oh
the guy
no.
from the guards?
Oh
Did
no.
something happen?
Yeah. News came from Irenaeus just after you
Huh?
left. We've got another trial on
Wait,
our
really?
hands.
Wasn't that place built specifically for holding trials? What's so newsworthy about this
Oh
one?
no. Oh no. What type of trial? Well, oh yes, because the trials.
I know. But they said the person they're putting on trial is a
What?
Fatui harbinger called Tartaglia.
Huh? Child?
What? Is that someone
This is
you
like our
know?
best bud.
Yeah, we know him. Maybe even a little too well.
Oh, this is rough.
Well, he's been accused of being the true culprit behind the serial disappearances case. It's absurd, don't you think?
It is absurd.
Wait, how? None of our investigations have had anything to do with
This
him.
is not good, child. What have you got yourself into?
That's what I thought was strange about it, so I came to tell you the news right away.
We gotta defend him. We gotta defend him this time.
If the charge against him stands, then it'll be next to impossible to get the guards to support any of our planned investigations.
Right. Because they'll think they've already found the
Yes, the
culprit.
boogeyman. You find the boogeyman. Right? It's like the freaking Life on Mars show when they said it like, oh, once you find the boogeyman, people are at ease.
Yeah. And it'll be a lot harder then to clear Mr. Callas' name.
Oh my god, child of all people.
I understand.
And he doesn't have his vision with him.
Well, partner, what do you think
We
should
gotta
do?
we gotta back him up.
We still haven't found any conclusive evidence.
We gotta back him up. Let's split up.
Huh? Split up? What do you mean?
You go to Irenaeus and I'll go and investigate that place. I'm confident in my combat abilities. That's awesome.
Just as expected of my
Paimon's so
partner.
proud of us too. Are we gonna have to defend Child? Or is he just like, it's just gonna be a trial that goes on the periphery of this stuff is happening?
Since this is a trial about the serial disappearances case, the culprit's attention will be focused on Irenaeus, leaving his home base wide open.
Right.
You're right. This is our best opportunity. All right then, let's do this. I'll stall them at the Opera House and charge Marcel as the true culprit.
Oh, we're just charging Marcel as well? Oh my, I still can't think of, like, Child is there without his vision. Of course he got caught. We still have his vision, right, don't we?
I won't have any chance of making that charge stick, though, unless we find more evidence. It'll be up to you
my
to make it
God,
back in
this
time
is
and hand
crazy.
the decisive evidence to me.
Like, this Fontaine has been incredible. The Archon quests have been incredible. Obviously, everything's been incredible. But, like, I didn't expect us to, like, to be, you know, have Child in court. You know what I mean?
We'll help you, just like you helped us in
Exactly,
Lynn's trial.
exactly.
Demoiselle, please allow us to accompany you.
I'm ready.
Ah, Malou, Silver. When did you two get
Have you been
here?
following her?
We heard that you'll be leaving Poisson and figured that you might require our assistance.
Well, protect her with your... Well, no, she doesn't need it. It's freaking Navia. What am I talking about? Well, obviously, it's nice to have them here, but it's very clear that Navia also protects them, and I think they're also there for themselves more than anything, you know?
It's our hope that your confidence will be bolstered with the two
There you
of
go, a
us
bit of
by your
confidence.
side.
Thank you so much. Then, let's make haste for Irenaeus. Paimon, Traveler, I'll see you at the Opera House.
This is, again, constant, like, it's a Genshin thing to have things happen that's unexpected.
See you then.
That we're smiling all happy. Combining the information regarding the Gardavex and the investigation results so far, it can be concluded there's only one person who can have a large amount of Gardavex in his possession and synth business without leaving traces to person other than Marcel. The rich, yes, the money, that's the big deal.
Now that Navia has set out for Irenaeus, we should also get going.
So, we're heading out to the waters now as well.
Marked on the map, so let's head over.
So, here's the thing as well, right? I didn't know when we were going to see Child again, but the fact that this poor man got caught up in this again, I feel so, like, again, I just think without his vision as well, like, makes me, like, feel really like, oh, poor Child. I know it's like, oh, not poor Child, you know, like, he always gets into trouble himself. But he's not like other, you know, I feel like always, like, very protective. He's not like other people, right? He obviously needs, like, you know, sometimes he needs people to, like, watch over him a little bit because he does get himself into trouble quite a bit. But he's also very capable of defending himself. I just didn't expect this at all.
Nice and spicy. Incoming.
Yeah, I would say, I think you guys would agree, way better than last time. Just from leveling up talents and stuff. And their weapons aren't even fully, like, there yet. Right? You guys would agree. So guys, that's going to be coming up on the Genshin playthrough. We're going to be having
That's everything.
a trial that involves Tartaglia, that involves Child. I don't know what to think, right? I don't know what to think. Because it's one of those things where it's like, we won't know how we truly feel about all this. Well, what I feel right now is that I'm like really worried about him. I'm also excited that we get to do this again, this type of investigation, this trial, this work. Fontaine has been absolutely incredible. But we also know the pressure it can put on people. We saw what it did to Linny. And I like that we brought up as well the fact that what happened with Linny, we're going to help with you as well with Navi, because Navi helped us also. Guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you so much for the support in this series. Thank you so much for the support all the time on Genshin. We have to save Child. We have to help Navia. This is such an incredible story. And it's like it's more than I could have wanted. Someone said this place suits me, and I really feel it is. This was made for me. And I'm going to say that to the end of time. Honestly, this place was made for me. Let us then say thank you to the Never Can Repay the Baby Gangster on Patreon. Before we do, actually, I want to say, just to talk about everything that happened, because I'm kind of, before, if we can calm down for a second. What we learned about Navi here is, like, cannot be overstated as a character who is, like, so... that has a lot of emotions building up inside of her, that misses her father, that has a father that she wishes that could have gotten more information out of. And it makes so much sense that she's doing this full investigation, not only to gain the truth and to help everyone, but also, she said, for herself, so she can find out the truth. And I think this is also a way for her to become closer to her father. That's the way I see it. And it's also, like, very interesting, the idea of, like, having trust in people with Son, because we're finding out more and more in Fontaine is that, like, this system that the court system is based on, not everyone agrees with it, not everyone's happy with it. People in Poisson for sure don't agree with it. Such an incredible scene with her and Neuvillette. It's probably one of the best scenes I've ever seen in Genshin. As a little insert here, guys, I want to, like, kind of, like, very much say why I think, like, dealing with Child and Tartaglia is so different from dealing with other characters. This is a character that I really feel like, we saw the conversation they were having with us. They don't see the same reality that everyone sees, if that makes sense. They don't have the same, like, while they're very good to us and we love them and they're one of our closest friends at this stage, even after, like, all the stuff we've been through, we know that they did some stuff bad, and we know they did, we know that, but we love them dearly. But the way that they kind of, like, see the world is, like, through almost, like, sometimes a tunnel vision, and that can sometimes be dangerous, because that leads to, like, they saw, okay, I want to talk to my friend here, I want to talk to the traveler, and they didn't even notice the things around them, which was all the stuff that was happening, like because they didn't even see it as a danger, right? So they just, like, went on with their business. You don't have many people that act like this in this world, and I do think that is, like, it's a lot to do with upbringing, it's a lot to do with, like, their history and their past. I would never sit here and, like, judge Child for that at all, because every character in Genshin is so varied and different. But I think the reason why, Child tends to get himself in trouble sometimes is because he does have a tunnel vision aspect to himself, I feel like, where it's like he's looking ahead, and it sometimes takes other people and us to kind of pull him out of that. The one times he doesn't really have a tunnel vision is when he's protecting us, or he's protecting his brother or sister. Then he can kind of see the forest from the trees and see how things can end up for them and for us. He does have a lot of care for us and does a lot of care for him, for his family too. But I think he is the type of person that does have a lot of tunnel vision when it comes to life. But I appreciate him nonetheless, and that's why I have no problem trying to save Child whatsoever, and I hope we can. And with that, I will say thank you to the Never Can Pay the Baby Gangster, the Never Can Pay the Baby Gangster tier on Patreon. I'm so excited. I'm so excited, but nervous at the same time. This is incredible. Typhar 2, JB Bull, Johnny the Banana, The Ghost of Inazuma, Felicious Felix, Yule, Radish, Anusa, Shibata Red, Malcolm Day, Jeff Trapp, and Link's Marquis, and also Yassassin. I hope and pray that we can get Tartaglia out of this, but I know for a fact he is so resourceful that nothing terrible is going to happen. But this is just, he's without his vision right now, and also he gets himself into trouble quite a bit. He knows how to get himself into trouble, and he's a different type of person. He is really a different type of person. Let's do the thing. So Shangling, you want to do the thing? as things burn down around her. I'll see you guys very soon. Bye bye.